The 251 half-track is a unit we rarely see in Wehrmacht 1v1 games, but with the most recent Year 1 Anniversary 1.5 patch update, we've seen some improved viability for the 251 half-track. The half-track is a unit that supports your core army. In its standard form, the unit can improve the Wehrmacht position through light vehicle pressure, on-field reinforcing, and some surprise Vet 1 Riegel mines. However, it offers a range of other benefits from upgrades or its battle group passive as the game develops. In this video, we will follow the journey of a 251 half-track as it plays a role in supporting the capture and defense of Villa Fiore through a synergy with the mechanized battle group to take on a repairer and medic role. This game will be from the point of view of Havoc as a Wehrmacht player versus Dumay's United Kingdom forces, and at the time of recording, both players are top 5 in the world. So let's jump into it. The 251 half-track is a unit that cannot be built until the Panzergrenadier Company, which is the tier 3 tech structure, is created. However, we're still going to review the early game prior to this unit coming out onto the field, because we want to establish what is a unit composition that Havoc creates in the early game that sets the foundation for the half-track to come onto the field. So we're going to look at the unit composition, the position of those units on the map, what they're building, what they're creating. So like the Pioneers are doing here, they're making the sandbags, the wires. In the future, they're going to be building mines on the map. So we want to explore those key positions to help protect the half-track. And also just go over the overall build order and sequence in which the army is going to develop into the game. The early game build order with 2 Pioneers and a Kettenkrad focuses upon capping the map quickly with the intent to hold half the map with the MG42, the Grenadier, and the Pioneers. Once the Panzergrenadiers and the half-track enter the field, they will provide some mobility to respond to threats, especially when synergized with the vision advantage of the Pioneers and Kettenkrad. Mechanized battle groups should be selected at this stage with the priority to build an 8-rad, which will increase the aggression options. The half-track will continue to support infantry through on-map reinforcements and with mobile repair stations at 2 CPs for self-repair and other vehicle repairs. This will round off your first 5 command point investments. After this, it becomes more reactive to your opponent's builds, whether that means you're needing more vehicles, infantry, or support weapons. I'll leave that up to you. But get healing tech when required and consider the Panzergrenadier Officer Quarters Vet 1 upgrade if you consider going for Panzergrens and Stug's army composition, which is what we're going to see in this game. So from the start of this game, we can see that Havoc does go for a double Pioneer start, followed by an MG that works its way into the center under the guidance and vision provided by the Pioneer. And Pioneers have a good line of sight, a line of sight that extends beyond what the British players, Royal Engineers, and infantry sections can see. So it's being guided effectively. The MG's finishing up the cap whilst the Pioneer goes into the north. And there's also a Kettenkrad coming out into the base to cap the south side of the map. Now, this is a build order that at the start of the game is quite quick in terms of its capping. There's a lot of units to cap here in the 2 Pioneers and the Kettenkrad. And the Pioneers can actively play a role in fighting, especially if their 2 units, Pioneers, are combined to take on 1 unit from the Allies. So they can be used together quite well, but they shouldn't be used as a single squad. But the Pioneers are leading the way here. The MG's in position. It's having the vision provided. And it's going to get off an early suppression onto these infantry sections, which could not see the MG. And this is a really nice little start for Havoc. What he does is he brings in his Pioneers to push onto the infantry sections, because Pioneers have a high damage output when they are at short range. But he does detect that this Royal Engineer flank is coming around, especially since the capping process has stopped. So he's moving into a defensive position preemptively to predict that, all right, I'm going to get my MG pushed here. And he does a good job of setting that MG up in an arc with the Grenadiers and Pioneers protecting the flank of the other Royal Engineer that is coming in from the south. They managed to put a halt on that squad, force the retreat, but this Royal Engineer does find the gap and is going to force that MG to retreat. One thing to note here, Havoc did not to emerge onto this MG because it was a losing position and the infantry section is moving in from the north. And what we'll see is a common trend throughout this game is that Havoc is quite quick to retreat in the event that he knows that it is a losing position. But in the event that there is a winning position, he's quite happy to stay on the map, reinforce, and hold his ground. And it's sometimes a little bit too much, but we'll explore that as the game develops. So we can see at this point, Havoc has a unit composition that's built around supporting the MG. He's starting to harass the fuel in the north. He does have the superior capping power. And at this point, he's got some munitions starting to bank up in the bank. So he's got the option here of going for a flamer or planting some mines. However, this Pioneer squad has quite a lot of health damage, so placing a Pioneer flame squad on this squad doesn't make too much sense. Maybe on this squad it might be useful, but it's not going to happen because he opts to go for mines. And the mines are really beneficial here because they will help protect the half track, which is going to be coming onto the map shortly. We can see that the tier 3 tech structure has been built, and the first unit to come out of this is the Panzer Grenadier. The half track will follow soon after this. Now there are mortars going off. So what Dumais has gone for is he's gone for the Polston with the Indian Artillery Company mortar. The Polston's been upgraded and it's got a really nice timing push here. It is going to force the retreat on a lot of these Wehrmacht units in the center of the map. Havoc's doing a good job just trying to alter the retreat path so that it's out of the way of that, and that's a fantastic thing to do to reduce any model drops. But he's moving up now into more of a defensive position to just protect his side of the map. And to do that, what he's doing effectively here is he's placing defensive mines. He's got a mine here and here in order to protect against an overextended Polston push. Since he's going for the half track, he's got the Panzer Grenadiers out, he doesn't have the option to get out a Pack 40. He doesn't have the manpower. And what he's opting to really go for, because he has selected the mechanized battle group, he's waiting until he gets his 3 CPs in possession so that he can counter the Polston with an 8 rad. So he's just selected the raid package option, and one more CP and the 8 rad will come out to provide the counter. And it is a more all-purpose counter to the Polston having the 8 rad out, because the Pack 40 can just be avoided, whereas the 8 rad is going to be able to apply pressure. Now the half track has made its way onto the map, our hero unit for today that we're going to be following its journey. And let's start tracking it as it goes through this Villa Fiore fight. Now, one unit does go down there. The Grenadiers were cut down on retreat. And the half track is now exposed. He does pop off the smoke to help defend it. And this is something that is quite important to analyze. Now, so far in this game, Dumais has run into a mine in this location. And there are mines that he's unaware of that have been planted in the south. But that first mine that was planted over here has caused a bit of a mental consideration for Dumais to recognize that, ooh, my Polston's quite hurt, and he's hesitant to push forward here and take on the damaged half track. So he opts to just back out. Even though he had the freedom to push here, having mines placed in the early game creates a bit of an early game mental tax. It creates uncertainty is it safe or not to push. It creates some doubt. And that is what the half track can benefit from, because it is a vulnerable unit. Now, let's even just pause here. The half track, it's made use of its recrew weapon here, which is something that you want to utilize as much as you can, keeping that forward reinforcement, forward pressure to have that map presence. In this game, we're going to keep track of the number of half-track reinforcements and retreats prevented. This will be visible in the bottom left corner. These stats can lead to an increased map control due to units spending more time on the front lines rather than time lost in retreating, moving back onto the field, or sometimes even being forgotten idle in the base. At game's end, we'll analyze these values considering time as a resource to compare what it means to play a game with and without a half-track. Havoc is also going for the base healing medical station and not getting the upgrade on the half-track to do so. And this is an important point. The half-track MG does apply some pressure on the map, in particular to the units that are capping on the sides. So this gives Havoc some flexibility in the sense that he can send his 8-rad on one side, which might be the side that the Polston's moving onto, and the half-track can be capping and pushing the other side of the map where there might just be some Royal Engineers present on the map. And also, it forces the British player to upgrade some anti-tank gun or anti-tank capabilities, whether it's through their infantry sections, maybe it's forcing a Humber or Stuart to be built, or yeah, having an option present, which might reduce the anti-infantry capabilities of the Allies player. So we can see at the moment, the 8-rads in the north, the half-tracks in the south getting healed, whilst capping through the raid package option. So some defensive mines are being placed along the way. Some bait might be created by capping like this, because the Polston's unknown at the moment, the location of it. So this might create a pathway in which the Polston might succumb to a mine and then a pounce by the following unit. But it's been established now that the Polston is capping or helping defend the north. So the half-track does have free roam in the south. So the Royal Engineers have been detected in the south, and the half-track is like, that's my target. That's where I want to go. I want to protect these pioneers before they take some damage. And what Havoc does really well here is he just quickly garrisons the pioneers on the inside so that they are protected from that engagement, and the half-track can do the rest of the work. And Dumais recognizes that and does a quick retreat in response. Whilst this is happening, the Panzer Grenadiers are putting some pressure on the cutoff, with the 8-rad pushing across to the side of the map to place some pressure into the center. Now this 8-rad, it does have the potential to also continuous run across to this side of the map, which it looks like that is being capitalized upon. Whilst this is occurring, the half-track has got Vet 1 now, so it's gained access to the Riegel anti-tank gun or anti-tank vehicle mine. This is a really high damage mine that can target only opponents' tanks. So if an infantry squad from the Allies walks over this, it's not going to trigger it. Riegel AT mines do 500 damage to vehicles, so that means a single mine can outright destroy a Humber, Stuart, M8 or Chaffee. Crusaders or Shermans will lose the majority of their health, whilst also becoming highly vulnerable with a heavy engine damage critical. Having mines placed here, 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 and here is really going to provide a provision for attack. But the 8-rad recognizes that the Polston has been exposed, so it's going in for a dive to secure the kill, which is really nicely recognized. And once that kill is secured, he's going to quickly back out. Now, the Panzer Grenadiers were moving in support there, but have been exposed to a bit of danger. A really nice smoke has been popped off there to cover for the retreat, but the infantry sections are moving in the cutoff path to place some pressure and undoubtedly take out this Panzer Grenadier as it moves back. The 8-rad has been called in, a second one, to provide a lot more anti-infantry support, and that's a good call considering that these AT boys have been upgraded. There isn't a lot of anti-infantry on the field now, so as long as you're providing support for these and constantly repairing them, you will cost effectively come out ahead in terms of the manpower investment. But there was a final snipe there, so one of the 8-rads does go down, and the Stuart is applying pressure here. Now, this has been recognized. The 8-rad's hiding. The half-track has gone to the corner of the map, and what he's trying to do here is potentially bait in the Riegel. Now, I don't think it actually occurs, because from my memory, Dumais, I was watching this game on stream, and Dumais did recognize that there was a mine here somewhere. So he's playing a bit cautiously. And there can also be the mental tax, like we said before, from the mines that were going off in the south. So that 8-rad is making its way back to the repair corner that we'll call the south side of this map. Because the south side of this map becomes Havoc's repair station. He knows it's secure. There is mines here, here, in the middle. And also on this side of the map. And you can see here, Dumais did recognize that mine was there. So he has started to sweep it up accordingly and will quickly retreat. So, and there is another Riegel being placed now to compensate for that that swept mine. Dumais got a CoH3 background, so he's very good at detecting and being aware that mines may potentially be there. So he quite often will drive on pathways that are less likely to have a mine present on the field. So at this point, something I did notice whilst I was watching Havoc stream is he does have 3 CPs available. And he was toggling and trying to make a decision of what is it that he's going to use with that 3 CPs. Is he going to get the 2 CP half-track repair ability, which allows it to repair itself at a rate of 6 HP per second, as well as adjacent vehicles? Or is he going to wait till he gets a Panther? Now, he was a bit hesitant to pick at this point, but I think it would have been good for him to pick it, especially because we can see here he does have the Stug upgrade coming on the way. So he's going to be having those vehicles being provided. So it may have been beneficial for him to pick that a little bit earlier to get that repairs going. But we will see in due course time, he will get that repairing option available. And this half-track becomes a very time efficient unit. And that's something that I really want to talk about. The time efficiency of the half-track is something that should be respected. It is a unit that has limited combat ability, but it brings a lot of time efficiency in the sense that it can allow units to stay on the field so that they don't have to retreat to reinforce. It can heal them on the field if it gets the healing upgrade. It can allow you to steal support weapons and quickly recrew them. And to add in the repairs on top of that provides a lot of time efficiency. And we can see whilst this is going on, there's just some light engagements occurring with infantry in the north. The Stuarts being a bit of a bully and pushing those units around, whilst the half-track is repairing next in the cycle, because the 8-rad is pretty much fully repaired and back onto the field. So whilst the half-track is being repaired, we'll just look at the other parts of the game to get an understanding of what's occurring. With the Stuart being recognized that it's still in the north, he knows that, alright, there's actually an anti-tank gun in the south as well, so he quickly backs out. But it's facing the wrong way, that side now, so he's been doing some light engagements with that half-track to bring down a portion of the Gurkha's health. Now, the mortar's starting to do a bit of a number on Havoc here, and Havoc is starting to recognize that, alright, I'm in a bit of an awkward position. I've got 3 VPs being pushed on me at the moment, and he wants to go for a decisive push, because at the moment, Dumais is quite spread across the map. One of the Pioneers does go down to a mine as well, so he's starting to think, alright, I want to consolidate my units on one side of the map, which is done now, and he's going to go for a hard-hitting push on the left-hand side of this map, and it does reap some really, really nice rewards for him. So as this continues, we can see the Panzer Grenadiers are moving quickly up the field. The sprint ability is upgraded, and he's hoping to catch this anti-tank gun out of position. The Stug is getting some AT capabilities down on that Stuart, forcing it back and forcing essentially the boys to stay still where they are, the anti-tank gun to undeniably set up to help counter this 8-rad, but the Panzer Grenadiers keep on pushing the advance. There is smoke that goes down, a good attack round by Dumais, but it wasn't enough to secure the kill, and the Stug is now applying pressure to this Stuart. The stolen anti-tank gun gets in 1 round, and the Stuart is going to secure the final kill, as that anti-tank gun is not able to rotate in time, but it doesn't matter. The Panzer Grenadiers are pushing off onto the cutoff and getting the anti-infantry capabilities down on these units, which don't have the same fighting prowess that they do. Now, this was a fantastic engagement for Havoc, and I will pause it there for a moment, because from that engagement, that hard-hitting push where he recognized that my opponent is spread across the field, he pushed hard into that location, and this is a scenario that you want to do, especially with these fast-moving units from Panzer Grenadiers, Stugs, and 8-Rads. Now, this is the time in which the half-track can really shine. Whilst that was occurring, the half-track was capping the central VP, which is good. It wasn't needed at that point in time of the engagement, but now Havoc does a little bit of a mistake. He becomes a little bit greedy here. He's just wiped and stolen the anti-tank gun. He's wiped the Stuart from the map. You can see its little wreck over here. And the the Royal Engineers. What would have been really good at this point in time would be for Havoc to consolidate his lead with the half-track, to play into that time efficiency factor. Bring the half-track from here to here, hide behind the shot blockers in the fog of war, or if necessary, you can even bring the Panzer Grenadiers back here, get them reinforced, and then continue to apply pressure, or simply just retreat them back and get them healed up. But Havoc goes for a bit more of the greedy option to cap, and the Gurkhas get a quick burst down on him as they're exposed on the no cover position. But we can see from that, Havoc realizes, yep, I shouldn't have overextended to that extent. I'm going to go back now and just heal and repair. And from these 2 damaged units, we can see that now Havoc has just selected the mobile repair stations, which allows the half-track to repair at 6 health per second on the adjacent units, including itself. The Stug is pulling back as well to hopefully get a little reap of the benefit of these repairs. And to put this into context, if we consider a Pioneer has a repair rate of, I'm pretty sure it's 8 health per second, whereas the half-track gets 6 health per second. And it will continue to repair vehicles as long as it is stationary. The other vehicles can be moving, but the half-track must be stationary. So we can see it cut out the repairs at that point in time. So to put that into context, a Pioneer or a half-track can repair, when it's repairing multiple vehicles like this, it has the efficiency of basically 1.5 Pioneers when we're considering the repair rate. And that's really good. That's some good time efficiency. Not to mention that this half-track will provide synergy by allowing other units to reinforce on the field as well. So this is another really great engagement. What goes on here is, I think Havoc was going to place that Riegel there, but he quickly cancels that when he realizes the boys are in location. But what he's doing here is he's going to soak up damage with his half-track, but force the AT boys to stay in this engagement for a longer period of time whilst they cop a lot of damage from the Panzer Grenadiers. Infantry section AT boys do 100 damage per volley, so it takes 4 volleys to kill the half-track. The half-track has 320 health, so it's also possible with 3 volleys and a bit of small arms fire to take it out. With the location that this half-track is in, there's no other units in the fray. It's a really good calculated decision here to take the damage. That damage, those 2 volleys, means this half-track is going to need 40 seconds of repair time to heal itself. But when you consider these Panzer Grenadiers are going to wipe 2 models on the British player, which that corresponds to, I think it's about 60 manpower, that's a really great trade. Not to mention, it probably takes the infantry sections 40 seconds to retreat back to base and come back onto the field here. So you can use your half-track as bait. You can use it to soak up a little bit of damage, protect your other squads whilst they're on the field, and then just get it back into the fight without soaking up Pioneer time. Like the Pioneers at the moment, they're just on the field. They could be wiring, they could be sandbagging, placing mines, causing some destruction like that onto the opponents. And it's playing into that time efficiency element. Half tracks are all about time efficiency. So we'll just, whilst the half track is repairing, and Havoc quickly notices that, yep, it's pretty much done repairing, you'll bring it back onto the field and have it starting to repair the Stug and the 8-Rad, which are hurt in the south. Like I said earlier, the south of this map becomes the repair station.
The battle is in our favor. Secure our victory.
So the Panzer Grenadiers are moving up with the MG to fight into the center. The half track's coming across to place another Riegel mine in. And that's something that plays into this strategy as well. Havoc's got a level of security from the stolen anti-tank gun that he did acquire. This allows him to recognize that he didn't have to rush a Panther either. He is eventually going to get out the Panther, but he does have a level of AT that's coming from that stolen anti-tank gun. But he can also build an anti-tank gun or more Stugs for himself if necessary. But the Grant does pack a fair bit of punching power, so he has to back that up. Second Stug is in the mix. And mechanized assault has been selected as well, so there can be some crazy repair rates now for the Wehrmacht vehicles on the map. We can see during all this, the half track is up to 2 kills. It's starting to use that recrew ability. And as the game develops, this is probably around the point in time that it starts to become a decision of, is it beneficial for me to upgrade this to a medical conversion? Because in the early game, you do want the damage capability from your half track. But as the game develops and other units start to provide that primary damage output, multiple vehicles are now on the field, so you can have your Stug, your 8-Rad covering multiple sides, and your infantry pushing wherever they need to. Less damage is required from this, so you can go towards the medical conversion kit, especially if you get a couple of Riegels down. And then once you get the medical conversion out, at Vet 2, it offers some really nice bonuses in terms of increased reinforcement rate at the 25%, and also cheaper reinforcing by 10%. So MG usually takes 25 manpower to reinforce, but once you get the medical half-track upgrade at Vet 2, it will, at Vet 1, it will be 22 manpower to reinforce. There's a round down factor, which is quite useful in that respect. So the half-track is just keeping the units repaired, still in the south. It's anticipating the mortar to keep on hitting the MG, so it's just hanging around there just in case it has to be reinforced and recrewed. And we can see that it is now pushing up as well, just to help provide some vision, but it quickly backs out when it recognizes that, all right, these foot guards are a threat. There's no need to push them, but I can soak up a little bit of damage if necessary. Everything starts to back out with the MG being rotated. And once those foot guards are forced to retreat, we can start to reevaluate the position. Panzer Grenadiers are going for a successful push down the middle, whilst the Panzer Grenadiers in the south did get off a nice grenade against those Gurkhas, and the Panzer Grenadiers then secure a kill with a really nice grenade and pick up on the LMG. And once the Panzer Grenadiers get to Vet 3, they do get out a HP upgrade by 15. So we can see here the time efficiency of the half-track continues. It's repairing both of these vehicles at the same time and just doing its thing. Now 5 CPs are almost into effect, and Havoc here is going to be considering getting out a Panther, because we can see he hasn't tech tier 4. He doesn't really have the fuel to both tech and get out a Panzer company because it costs 130 fuel, so he's more inclined just to get out the Panther via the call-in method rather than the production. So the half track, it's being kept back now. He knows that, all right, this is my primary repairer. I'm not going to overextend it and have it succumb to the foot guards, which are now at Vet 1 and can do that quick stall, that stun and get a very quick kill on it. So he's playing a bit more passively now with the half track in anticipation with it, which is a good decision. But when things get dicey, whether that's through airburst barrages from the mortars, that half track will very quickly come up, play medic, and get everything reinforced. We can see that there's a push here from the Grant. The Stug is in a nice defensive position here, as well as the anti-tank gun that is being rotated. A fortunate miss there, and it falls straight back into the arms of the half track repairing with smoke under effect. There is an off-map strike here from the airburst barrage, and the half track recognizes that that's a priority that has to be protected. Havoc probably does preemptively call this recrewing a little bit earlier because the barrage is still in effect, so it might have been good just to wait there, but it's not the end of the world because this recrew weapon does have a short cooldown of 30 seconds. So he'll hang around here, stay still, increase the repair rate of that Stug, and just wait until the recrew ability is present once again to get that pack back under his control. Now these mortars are smacking down a lot of pressure on the map, but Havoc is playing a good role of constantly moving this half track in support of his pack and his MGs, and they keep on moving throughout the map, especially when there's smoke called down or when there's a flare pulled in by that mortar. Now we can see the Panthers on the field now. It is going to cycle back. In the south, we've got the Panzer Grenadiers, and there was a third Panzer Grenadier that was purchased as well. One thing I didn't cover as well is the Panzer Grenadier officer quarters has been selected as well. So these Stugs are coming out with the Vet 1, same with the Panzer Grenadiers. Nice hit by the pack there. Half track is just continuing to repair and keep a close line on the front whilst reinforcing these units. I think the pack is just slightly out of range, so it will have to move back a bit, which I think he's doing now. But he doesn't want to move that because he wants to have the repairs to keep on occurring. So fantastic move there. He moved it preemptively from that airburst that's coming in from the mortars, and he's got to move it back just a little bit more just to play safe, and it's always a good thing to do that. They do have a large scatter, those airburst barrages. But we can see now that decision has been made to upgrade the half track into the medical conversion. So now reinforcement is going to be 25% quicker, as well as the obvious repairing and healing on the field will still be maintained. So a big grenade has gone off there, which forces the retreat just to make sure it does stay alive. And these units are pushing into the center. The half track knows it's out of range. There's no need to push it back from that anti-tank gun, which is over there. But the Panzer Grenadiers are starting to put pressure now. So these units can start to hide behind the Villa Fiore and do some damage in a protected position, while still being repaired and healed under the guidance of the half track. So this is a map especially where this healing and repairing function from the half track excels. You can really use this hill and this building to your advantage. Yes, there might be mortars that are going to be pounding away, and it's actually forced Dumais to have double mortars created. We can see here that there is one there, and I think he does build a second one, yeah, which is there as well. So it's making Dumais recognize that it's tricky for me to dislodge this. They're reinforcing fast, and it's causing some headaches and forcing Dumais to either go into an off-map position where he's doing indirect fire or going to a big decisive push, which can be difficult when you've got slow moving Matildas or Grant tanks compared to the mobility of the Panther and the Panzer Grenadiers with this stolen anti-tank gun. So we can see the Panzer Grenadiers are pushing on all sides of the map, north, south, and mid. They're sprinting to push these units away, which have very little anti-infantry capability, whilst there's a push occurring into the center from the Panther. Anti-tank gun is in support. Some nice hits occurring there, followed by a smoke to quickly move on back and just go straight back into the arms of that time-efficient repairer of the half-track. And we can see that the Panzer Grenadiers recognize that, all right, we're at full health as well. We're just going to pull back and get healed up at this point, and then rebound straight back onto the field. A second Panther is now on the field as well, which is offering a really nice decisive timing window possibility for the Panther to do its thing. Stug is rolling up. Heals are almost completed. Repairs are going to be aided by the fast repair rate on the sweepers and the half track. And Havoc's starting to think, I want to get the final push down now. I know I've got an army advantage. I've got my units fighting in the south. I know there's something in the north. There might be a hole starting to be exposed in the middle, and the Panzer Grenadiers are looking for that hole actively. There is a push coming from the north now, though. The half track is going to back up, activate the smoke to cover its retreat. Whilst this is occurring, the Panzer Grenadiers are moving across on the side. A grenade is thrown, a fantastic grenade is thrown to quickly get the decisive wipe on those units. And Havoc's now thinking, all right, this is good. I've got the infantry advantage established on the field. I've got control in the middle and the south. I'm going to start bringing up my units into the middle and top. A really nice hit goes off in the center. Yeah, the grenade's going to go off. It's going to wipe that, but does it matter? No, we've got the half track to do its thing. Panthers are fighting into the south against the Grant. A really effective smoke is popped whilst there's a flank coming in from the north. And if necessary, these units can just pop their smoke and retreat on out of there. And the Panthers secured one kill on the Grants, and it's going to secure the second kill on this Grant. And Dumais recognizes that and calls it a GG. So the half track ends the game with 2 kills, almost at vet 3. If the game went on a little bit longer, we would have got there for sure. In the early and mid game, the half track was mainly used for fighting, capping, and some repairs. But after 21 minutes in game, Havoc clearly makes the decision for the half track to hold the center. It is here that the half track performs all of its roles simultaneously, being a repairer, reinforcement, and healing platform to complement the Wehrmacht army with combined arms. The pressure applied from this decision was huge. Over the next 10 minutes, the half track provides 16 reinforcements and prevented 8 retreats. When a squad is retreating from the center of Villa Fiore, from the time of pressing the retreat to travelling back to the center, it takes about 60 seconds, whereas the time to do this on the field with the half track is a fraction of the time, with a maximum of being 20 seconds with the Grenadier squad. This improved the map presence and generated a victory point advantage of 150 VPs. I hope from this game analysis of what Havoc did well and could improve upon with the 251 half track allows you to better see how you can use this unit in your own 1v1 games. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye!